Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Sharon Rankin, and I am Zooming in from Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm delighted to welcome you to our team call. It's Monday, May the 16th, and your choice to be here, for as far as I'm concerned, says a lot. It says that you are interested in growing and making a difference and leaving a legacy in what we're doing to inspire healthy living. And that's the greater mission of the Juice Plus Company, inspiring healthy living around the world, which we have been doing for well over 50 years now in 27 countries with over $16 billion in cumulative sales. So we definitely have a success track record that we are proud of and proud to be aligned with. Now, the Mission Possible team, if you're dialing in for our team, is a growing team of inspired individuals, ambassadors for change, dedicated for change for as many as possible. So thank you all so much for being here. And we have a really super special speaker tonight. And I give a shout out to BJ for asking Dany Martin tonight to speak. And then his lovely partner wife is going to share with us next Monday night. So we're getting a 1-2 punch from the Martin family, and that is good. So I've heard both of them train. If you don't know who Dany Martin is, Dany is been with the Juice Plus Company since 1990. He is a presidential marketing director plus a 100 Club member. He has two sons, Dany Jr. and Devin, and he is a hardworking individual. I know some of your team is on, Dany, and they're going to give a big amen to this because they know what a hardworking individual you are and dedicated to what you're doing. But definitely in that hard work, you built an international organization. You're a sponsor, well, really a host of what I call the famous Swamp Stomp Boot Camp, where I've laughed as hard as I ever laughed when I was down there. And if I didn't say this already, Dany's one funny guy. And if you just hang out with him for just an nanosecond, you are going to be laughing and having fun. And I was just reminding him of the dinner that we had with the Daigles, the Pageants, and Lionel Mason in Banff when the company treated us up there, and the 8 of us sit and laughed as hard as I've ever laughed in my life. So it's good for the soul. There is no question about it. So Dany is an active participant and supporter of the St. Jude Marathon, and he's an avid golfer. Hence his son is an avid golfer as well, and a very successful one. So we've asked Dany to come in and share. I have to tell you, Dany, when you shared here in Nashville a few years ago and came and blessed us with a training, and you talked about why, and that's what I asked you to talk about, is like, what's the why behind what we do and how we do it. So welcome. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you, Sharon, and thank all of you guys for being on this evening. And we really appreciate you taking time out to do that. I also, besides thanking Sharon for hosting this, we go back a long way, probably 32 or 33 years or something, probably when we first met in the business. But I also want to thank BJ Crabtree for reaching out and inviting me on to do this, because I know she and my wife Debbie are close and stay in contact with each other. And so I appreciate your trust in me. And hopefully after you on here tonight, or if you watch a recording, hopefully you won't quit the business after hearing me, but that's a chance you take when you bring a Cajun in to speak around the country here. So we are going to talk about why. I'll tell you a little bit about myself first, not much, and I'm going to get into my why a little later. But I'm from South Louisiana, born and raised, and we are a little different in South Louisiana. Sometimes we like to have a good time, we like to have fun, we like to laugh. I am going to be serious tonight a little bit, but we are very health conscious here in Louisiana. We're one of the top states as far as being health conscious. We pretty much eat anything, alive, dead, doesn't matter. As long as we can deep fry it, it's good. And so I'm working on a formula right now to figure out how we can deep fry bottled water so that we can get more people here in Louisiana, consuming more water, because we know that's important, right? And but we have fun down here. We like to have a good time. And I remember Jay Martin, the founder of our company, saying probably 30 years ago, he said something to me about, if you can't make them laugh, you can't make them buy. And if you lighten up, your sales will brighten up. And so we've kind of taken that on, and we just like to have a good time. But we aren't, I'm kind of being facetious here because we're not very health conscious. I know we got some of our friends on here from Alabama, and I always like to thank Alabama, because if it wasn't for them, we'd be 50th in everything here in the U.S. But so we like those folks. They think there's a big rivalry between Louisiana and Alabama. It's really not. We really like those guys over there, but we like to have fun. But also I'll say, if you see somebody running where I live, they probably stole something. They're not doing it for exercise. They're doing it for some other reason. But anyway, thank you guys for having me on tonight. Let's talk about why. Do you ever ask yourself why? You ever think about why? You ever wonder why? Just in general. And so I got to thinking about that, and I said, you know what? I want to look up the definition of why. I want to see, what does it really mean? Because we use that word, that three-letter word, all the time. And what I found out the definition was, it's for cause, reason, purpose, or passion. Cause, reason, purpose, or passion. I'm like, that's pretty interesting. I can remember as a kid when I was in elementary school, way back when, in a land far, far away. But when I was young, there was a book in elementary school called Tell Me Why. And it was my favorite book back then. And I mean, here I am 100 years later and still can remember it, right? But it was questions that answered simple things like, why does the moon come out at night? Or why does everybody have a belly button? Or when you cut a tree down, why does it have rings inside of it? It was just basic stuff like that. So I think our exposure to why starts at a really, really, really young age. And as a kid, a lot of times maybe we'd ask why. And it wouldn't mean like the why we're talking about in our life or in our business, but it would be like, you need to clean up your room. Well, why? You ever get that from a kid? Or, we need to go to the doctor or dentist. Well, why do I have to go? So we have been associated and connected with this three little letters for a long, long time. So let's look at that definition. I want to break it down just a little bit. The first one was cause. When I look at cause, I think of things like helping people, supporting something, something like, say, St. Jude, or maybe you're volunteering somewhere, or you're giving to something, maybe your time or your money, or charities and things. So when we look at why we set on a cause for things, that's typically what I look at. The next one was reason. There's a reason for why. And I think that's just kind of a justification for an action or an event. In other words, we practice for something. That's the reason that we do something. We study at something. Maybe we protect something or someone is a reason. Maybe it's, that we have a reason for we want to have a successful career, or maybe we want to, make money or income or better ourselves like that. And then the last portion of that was purpose or passion. And we have why because of purpose and passion. And this is usually, I think, the reason something is really done. Something that's deep rooted in you. It's a part of your makeup. It's a part of your character, your personality, and your beliefs. And so you love something so much that you would do anything for it, and it becomes your purpose or passion. And we hear those words all the time. I'm passionate about this, or this is my life's purpose, and so forth. But it could be, maybe it's family, maybe it's a sport. I think my son that plays collegiate golf right now is pretty passionate about it. He can go out there and practice 8 or 9 or 10 hours a day. I don't even want to play a fun game of golf for 8 or 9 or 10 hours a day. That just would kind of but I don't have the passion that he has. And sometimes we may have a passion for our career. Maybe it's God. So we have these things of purpose, of passion, of why we do things. So we ask ourselves all the time, every day, sometimes many times a day, we ask ourselves why, but we don't really think about it when we ask that. And it may be, why should I do something? Or why should I buy this? Or why should I avoid that? Or why should I not eat this? Why should? So we do that a lot. But here's the thing. if you have no why in your life, to me, you're kind of like a ship without a rudder. You know, the rudder is the part underneath the ship that steers the ship. And so you have no direction. You cannot stay the course. You'll get beat around by the wind and the waves, and possibly go nowhere, or possibly go somewhere you don't plan on going. So the whys that we have in our life and in our business, I think, are super, super, super important. Very important. So how does all this apply, say, to our Juice Plus business? Well, it's because it pretty much seems to affect everything in our lives. And it's a big deal for success in your business. It's a real big deal for success in your business. And so I want to really hit home here tonight in talking about this topic of why it's really important. There I go saying that word again, right? But we've all heard, you know, to be successful with Juice Plus, you got to have a why, you know, and the stronger the why, the bigger the business. And that's true. But sometimes we don't really have a real why, or we don't understand what our why really should be. You know, some whys maybe in our business would be this, and you've heard these before. I want to help people. I'd like to make some extra money. I want to be around positive people. I want to change lives. I want to afford something. I want to do something specific. I want to avoid something specific, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there's two general rules that we have to look at here when we look at life or business and a why. First of all, you must identify what your initial why is. And secondly, your why will change possibly many times. It will never basically stay the same. So think about this. I want you to think about, what is your initial why, or why was your initial why, and write it down. You know, why did you embrace the Juice Plus products, for example? Or why did you embrace the Juice Plus business? Initially, what was that? And here's the thing, if you want to be held accountable in your business, share your why with your support team partner, maybe a family member, or maybe a friend. You'll hold yourself accountable if you do that. So if your business involves why is like a monetary amount, that's not your real deep down why. You know, sometimes we have to dig deeper than that, because I hear a lot of people say, I just want to make a couple $100 a month, or that's my why, or 500, or whatever it is. Here's an example. If you want to just make $500 a month with Juice Plus, they'll say, well, that's the reason I started my business. Well, let's think about this for a moment. $500 a month is not your why. Your why is what that $500 a month will allow you to do, or what that $500 a month will allow you not to do. It's either one or the other. It's not the monetary amount. So we have to identify that. And then we write it down, then we keep it in front of us, then we review it every single day. Because if you have that in front of you, and you know every day when you get up and every night when you go to bed what that real reason is, that why, that purpose, that passion, it'll keep you in the business. It'll keep you motivated. It'll keep you from listening to negative people, and it'll keep you moving forward step by step to reach your goals. So remember that your why is your cause, reason, purpose, or passion. That's the definition of it. So find those things and find out what that is. And ask yourself if your why is strong enough. Is it your real why? You know, have you soul searched deep enough, down enough, and to determine that that's really what it is? Don't have a weak why, W-E-A-K. Don't have a weak why, have a strong one. So let me tell you a little story about myself and my why, and how I initially started with the business, and kind of where it's gone to from to today. See, I started out when I was 16 years old working in a grocery store. And I guess like a lot of kids do. My goal in life, I wanted to be a welder. And the year that I graduated high school, the local steam fitter and pipe fitter union was no longer taking in any more apprentices that year. The grocery store chain, which was a big one in the Southeast United States, in case I talk bad about them, I don't like really using their name, but it ended in Dixie. Okay. And it was a big corporation, big grocery chain. And so I went to work full time with them. And my dad, his best year working as a maintenance person that he did most of his life, although he had a massive heart attack at 57 and had to retire and go on government assistance, but he had made $10,000 his best year ever. Well, by the time I was 21 years old, I had worked my way up to location manager. You would know it as a store manager of one of these grocery store chain stores. And I made $27,000 that year. I was the most successful person I'd ever met. I mean, I really felt like I was. None of my friends were making that kind of money. And I had no education, right? Got married, when I was about 22. A few years later, we had a kid. But then, a lot of times something major happens in your life to make you look at making major changes. And mine came in the form of a divorce. When that child, Dany Jr., was 1 year old. 1 year old, and here I am going through a divorce that was not my idea, and it was tough on me. It's probably one of the toughest parts of my life because the guy that lived next door to us was at the time my best friend, and I found out he was involved. So I felt like I was losing my wife, my best friend, and my son all in one day. That's not a happy day to have. But I look back on it today, it's probably the best thing ever happened to me. I like to tell people my wife ran off with my best friend and I miss him. I do. I miss him. But, I went through that period. So when I backed up and looked at my life, I said, you know what? I'm married to my job. I'm married to my career, because college was never in the picture for me because of financial reasons growing up. I was just always taught work hard, work hard. Well, I go through this divorce and I stepped back and I said, you know what? I got a 1 year old son. I'm not going to watch this kid grow up if I'm working the type hours I'm working. And I don't know if any of you have ever worked in probably restaurant business or grocery business, but you work when everyone else is off. When there's a holiday, you're working. And so my schedule was I was off every other Sunday. I'd work 14 days and a day off. And that's if everything was going well. If there wasn't any problems. If there were problems, you work more than that. So I started looking. I said, I want to get out of this industry, this grocery industry, and do something where I'm not working 60 and 80-hour weeks so I can spend time with my son. But again, I'm a high school graduate, and since the age of 16, I'd only worked for one company. So my resume was not real strong. But after years of looking, several years of looking, I was introduced to this company. And I was a referral, I might add. The guy that called me said, you don't know me and I don't know you, but I understand you're looking for something to do. And so I looked at this business. I looked at this business model. I looked at this company. And I remember asking him, I said, do you think I could make $1,000 or $1,500 a month? Because that was my why. I thought it was my why, right? You guys know it wasn't, but I thought it was. And he said, yeah, I think we can do that. Because see, he and his wife, Carrie and Nikki Daigle, if you know them, they'd been in the business about 3.5 months at this time. So they didn't know what they were doing either, right? The blind leading the blind, but here we go. But the thing about it is I thought if I could make that amount of money, I was being offered some things. I was being offered some things out there outside of the grocery business, but I was going to have to take a pretty good cut in pay. And I did not really want to do that. So I needed that extra money so I could leave what I was doing, take another job somewhere, and from that point forward, work my way back up the corporate ladder. Then I wouldn't have to do this any longer. See, I looked at coming into this business part-time as a part-time temporary thing. That was it. But see, my why wasn't the $1,000 or $1,500 a month. My why was to allow me to spend time with my little boy. And I didn't want to end up like the guy in the song Cats in the Cradle. Now, some of you that are a little older may know that song, and you can still hear it played today, but it was a recording back in the 70s by a guy named Harry Chapin. What a lot of people don't know is Harry's wife, Sandra, wrote Cats in the Cradle. And what the song is about, the first couple of verses is about, the son, the young son wanting to spend time with his dad, and the dad doesn't have time because he's busy building a career and all of these things. The second two verses in the song, the child has gone off to college and grown up and got a job and got married and got kids. And dad's wanting to spend time with son now, and son doesn't have time for him. And the moral of that story is, he says in there, he's grown up just like me. My boy is just like me. And I didn't want to be that guy. I didn't want to live cats in the cradle. So because I had a strong why of spending time with Dany Jr., what I thought when someone told me no was this. I would think to myself, you're not going to determine the outcome that would allow me to spend time with my son. So when I got a no, it didn't hurt as bad because I had that mindset, and I got a lot of no's. So you understand how important that why is, that deep down really why is? Because when they told me no, I'm like, they're telling me, oh, well, I'm gonna make it where you can't spend time with your little boy. Oh, no, you're not. I'm gonna go talk to somebody else. And that's the mindset you have to have. And that's why it's so important to have a very strong reason, passion, whatever you want to call it, why for doing this business. See, 6 months before I started this business, 33 years ago, I married Debbie. I brought that 5-year-old little boy into our marriage. Well, guess what? You know what? When that happened, my why's changed. It changed at that point. When I left my previous career in the grocery business after working with this company about a year or so, part-time, my why changed again. When Debbie was in a job that was being harassed by, a boss, my why changed again. 12 years into our marriage, we decided it was time to have a son because we were working on building our business internationally at that point. And when that little boy was born, Devin, my why changed again. So today I can say that my original why to spend time with that little boy was made possible by this company and this business. I didn't have to miss Dany Jr. growing up. And I can also say that Debbie and I have watched our younger son, Devin, who just turned 21 a week or so ago. We haven't missed him either. In fact, the last 2 months, we've been really busy traveling all over the country watching him play golf. Why? Because we can. So I didn't end up like the guy in the cats in the cradle because of this. That's how strong this is, guys. So my why today, yeah, it continues to change. Mainly my focus today, I guess, is probably helping others that maybe want to change a situation, or, others that want to give more to charity, or others that need mentoring. We have a vehicle here that people can get in and drive it, and we're going to sit along in the passenger seat with them. But we know what this vehicle is capable of doing. And if you haven't grasped that, you really need to take a serious look at that, because someone's going to be sitting in that passenger seat riding along with you. So this business and company, it's not only changed my life, it not only changed Debbie's life or Dany or Devin's, but here's what's really neat about this. It changed the trajectory of our family moving forward in the future, maybe for generations. What a blessing that is. I mean, what a blessing. And somewhere along the way, I have to think, not to sound, chauvinistic or braggadocious or whatever you want to call it, or egotistical, but I would think because of some of the changes and decisions we made, and while we had strong reasons, that some of those choices may have affected a few other people's lives as well. I mean, how cool is that? So your why is important. Is it? Yes, you bet. It is very important. It's one of the most important choices that you will make for your business moving forward. So you need to reevaluate it, whether you're just starting and you want to set that initial reason or why, Or maybe you've been around 32 or 33 years like I have and Debbie has. You're always wanting to adjust that because of the reason I talked about. It's going to keep you focused and keep you moving in the right direction. It's going to keep you moving forward when the hill gets steep. And guess what? The hill's going to get steep sometimes. It's going to get steep. You know, when everybody in our family said, I can't believe you leaving this security of this corporation and 2 or 3 paid vacations a year and a salary. And I just can't believe you're going to do that and go do something on your own and be entrepreneurial with no skills and no experience. Didn't matter about the skills. It didn't matter about the experience. It don't matter now how good you are at what you do. What matters is you have a really strong reason for doing this. And that's what's going to contribute a lot to your success. So your why will create a path down the road to give you choices. That's the bottom line. And it's not always going to be easy. But I will say this, it'll always be worth it. So identify your cause, your reason, your purpose, or your passion, or your why, if you want to call it that. Why should you do that? Because that will become your real why for getting up every day and putting in 1 minute, 1 hour, 1 day, or whatever it is into your Juice Plus business. And here's the last thing I'll say is enjoy the journey, but don't be surprised of who you become in the process. Sharon, I'll turn it back over to you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Dany. I cannot thank you enough for this tonight. When I heard your first talk about your why and spending time with Dany Jr., it impacted me, and I've never forgotten it. And I don't know how many years ago that's been. And because our why does change. I celebrated 38 years with the Juice Plus Company yesterday, and it passed me by until somebody else reminded me. But it was like, I don't see any end in sight. But how do you retire from passion and purpose and a mission? Because that's what people ask me all the time. So others, I hear your why is now others, and it's a good place to be for sure. And if you're brand new, I hope if you're here, if somebody's brand new on our call or just getting started in their journey, I just pray that you will listen to this with your whole heart. Or if you've been around for a long time, because it's easy to get bogged down in what's happened in the last couple of years and not think anybody's listening, but they are listening. So thank you, Dany. If you guys want to unmute yourself, I'll let you unmute yourself. Thank you for having your team join us. That was really fun to see some of our friends from other places that we know and love on the Juice Plus family. So thank you. I'm going to everybody tell Dany thank you. Thank you, DJ, for inviting me.
Wow.
Thanks, Dany. Appreciate you.
We love you guys.
Great job.
Have a super week, everybody.
Appreciate
Go out there, dig deep and find your why. All right. Good night.
Thanks, guys. Good night.
Thanks.
Good night.